welcome back to another episode of the Sonic Mania playthrough. I'll be entirely frank with you, these Mania playthrough videos do terribly, but I'm too stubborn of a completionist to, even when there's really no worth to it, not try and complete something. That is why, outside of this channel, I'm currently smashing my head against a brick wall trying to beat the Pride and Joy super boss in Final Fantasy VII Remake to get the Platinum trophy before I can allow myself to have fun again playing Rebirth. I'll give myself a small mercy here, in so much that I'm only going to getting an ending rather than sit there and farm meadows and Chaos Emeralds, but for the 100 or so people who are tuning in for all of these Mania videos, we are currently in Lava Reef. The end is drawing near, let's get to it. But before we truly begin, allow me to express my utmost grievance at a deliberate decision made by Taxman and his team. Note the lack of a flying submarine. We reached Lava Reef in the previous episode via a flying submarine from Oil Ocean, which crash lands into a lava pool here in one of the more memorable level openings in Mania, but we've been left out in the cold here by spawning in a much more ordinary cave tunnel. What a letdown! As it turns out, removing one of the most memorable parts of a level really sucks the energy out of it, which is the excuse I'm using as to why my progress through Lava Reef Act 1 was initially entirely unremarkable. You've probably played through Lava Reef at some point in your time, whether that be in Mania or S3K, especially seeing as Act 1 is based off the level design of that original version, and you probably won't see me doing anything you didn't experience yourself at this point. The only topic I can bring up is that this was the zone I decided to go all in on the bonus stages. These are never particularly hard to get to, all you need to do is run past a checkpoint with a certain number of rings, but at least personally, I see the circular sparks so often that I clock out and usually ignore it completely. Not this time. I decided that each time I saw one of these throughout Lava Reef, I'd enter it, which meant I got blue balled on 4 separate occasions. To be honest, I have nothing much to say about these either. While they're infinitely more stressful than anything else in Mania, it's not a difficult game, alright, these stand out. It is ultimately a case of running around a checkerboard planet, hoping to score enough balls and rings to get a medallion. I got 2 silver ones here, which is probably more than I've ever had before, purely via virtue of me bothering to try and get them, unlike usual. With a hefty fortune, a fire shield, and a safe placement on the top path, I was confident in a high score right up until the final descent to the Driller Droid boss fight. That was a lesson in humility and misplaced confidence, as I lost the shield, the rings, and my pride in short order, after running into a dozen different obstacles and enemies. While I managed to replace the shield by the time I reached the Driller Droid, I was in a much worse position, and I didn't exactly put on a great show. It's been a while since I fought this boss, and seeing as it isn't exactly the most memorable one in the world, when I saw that I lost plating and flash white after getting drenched in lava, I assumed it was a gimmick one that you just need to sit around and let kill itself. Big mistake. Effectively, the Driller Droid will drop the ceiling and land on a target, and you need to attack it while it's vulnerable after it tries to drop stalactites on your head. I did not do this. I sat around trying to dupe it to drop it in the lava, which it will refuse to do under any circumstances. Genuinely, it'll redo the targeting process if it would land in a hole it leaves, which means the fight has dragged on for ages before I realised what I was supposed to do. In fact, it actually duped me, landing on a different sector than its target claimed it would. So, 2 minutes and a lot of hits later, we end Act 1 with a score that I'd rather forget than take a transport down to Act 2. Compared to Act 1's volcanic mining aesthetic, Act 2 really isn't Lava Reef at all. In reality, please welcome Quartz Quadrant. With an emphasis on conveyor belts in a crystalline setting, this is as close to Sonic City as I'm willing to get. Hate that game. And for the sake of it, why not throw in some Hidden Palace as well? Admittedly, that side comes into play a little more when playing as Knuckles, seeing as you end up fighting Heavy King on the Master Emerald altar, but there are traces here and there even on the Sonic route. It's a very idyllic place. With all that said, I started going up through the top path, which meant very slowly making my way through a series of narrow corridors. I had forgotten that this act is honestly very slow, you have nowhere to build up speed, and you are constantly losing your momentum due to rock outcrops, Iwamadokis, and having to run against the direction of conveyor belts. I ended up completing a final bonus stage to net myself the second silver medal of the episode, before crossing a Rexon to net myself an achievement as well. I've got to be honest, I have no idea where I'm supposed to track these, seeing as they're in-game and not epic achievements. From there, it was a mostly uneventful run to the zone boss. With that said, I have no idea how I managed to win against Heavy Rider. Throughout the entire fight, I never managed to land a single legitimate hit, as between the Mason and Chainsaw users and her modified motorbug Jimmy, named in the memory of a hacker known as Polygon Jim, who was famous for producing a ROM hack that let you play as a motorbug, but who died in a car accident prior to Mania's release, I was unable to get close to them. Combine that with a penchant for mistiming jumps, overheard charge attack, which meant I missed potential attack opportunities, and always managing to be underneath the flamethrowers as they went off, and it's a miracle I was able to hold on for as long as I did. It took me a little while to figure out what I was going to do, but eventually an idea struck. I'd get Tails to do the work for me. If I timed my jumps correctly, due to the slight delay in copying your actions, Tails would jump through Jimmy and hit the Heavy Rider from below, while I could concentrate on avoiding attacks. It was a lengthy fight, my incompetence did not help, but eventually the Heavy Rider fell, though I'm not sure whether this death animation is intentional or not. Is the implication that Jimmy has no wheel and was effectively some sort of decoration to hide her pole? Or, more likely, was this a visual glitch? I didn't stop to think about it, opening the capsule to receive my measly score of 100. You may have noticed Little Planet appearing in the background as the platform we fought on slowly rose, and that's our destination for the next episode. The mechanized fortress of metallic madness awaits. But I hope you enjoy the video, and ciao.